Welcome to Real Silent. I'm Will,
I'm Jamie, where we keep it real.
and let the pictures do the talking.
A solicitor travels to Transylvania for a meeting with a mysterious and wealthy count who wishes to purchase a house in the solicitor's homeland. Surrounded by supernatural happenings, the solicitor escapes the castle while the count sails away with boxes full of dirt. The ship's crew disappears one by one before the ship runs aground. The solicitor's wife begins sleepwalking, incensed by the trance of the powerful count. A local professor knows what this count is, and together with the solicitor and his wife, they work to track the count down and dispatch him back into the gates of hell from which he escaped. If you guessed Dracula, you're as confused as Florence Stoker was, receiving an anonymous letter referencing a film shown during a lavish cinematic event at the Berlin Zoological Garden, along with a handbill describing the film as having been freely adapted from Bram Stoker's Dracula. The 1922 cult classic, Nosferatu, A Symphony of Horror. Nosferatu was Murnau's second feature-length film, and the only film production company Prana Film would ever release. The company declared bankruptcy to avoid having to pay Bram Stoker's widow for the adaptation after she won her lawsuit in 1925. As part of the settlement, all copies of the film were to be relinquished to her and then destroyed. By 1925, however, at least one copy had made its way to America and narrowly escaped the status of lost film. This is going to be the Halloween, but we're only week and a half late, so
It's timeless. Timeless
yeah,
movie,
yeah,
timeless podcast.
yeah. I hope so.
Right.
Timeless spot. I get what you did there. That's funny. Yeah, we don't have a clock around here. You see a whole bunch of other stuff on the walls. There's no clock. But yeah, no, Nosferatu, definitely a movie. Doesn't require much of an introduction, although I did kind of flex the editing skills on the introduction
Good
for
job on
this
that, by
one.
the way.
Well, you're bored and you're sitting around. You're like, oh, we're not recording yet, so
Yeah.
let me see what else I can make this bad boy do. So we did it, but yeah, wanted to definitely play on the fact of there was no shame in the game of Mr. Murnau that this was Dracula.
Mhm.
Um, there's no denying that, and as a matter of fact, the creators, Murnau and Albin Grau, they both pretty much capitulated to that point with the fact that they were like, yeah, well, we changed the names
Yeah.
and we changed the name of the town and we put it in Germany instead of England, so it's not Dracula anymore, right? Mm.
It was a time to Germanize everything, I'll say.
Well, yes, and, film historian David Calat, I might be messing that name up, but I'm not here for
Mhm.
nameology.
Yeah.
He was quoted as saying, "A low-budget film made by Germans for German audiences, setting it in Germany, with German named characters makes the story more tangible and immediate for German speaking viewers. Um, which I think is true. Um, you look at modern examples of that. We have The Office,
Mhm.
that was an English show and brought it over here, and you throw American actors into American city with American situations, and all of a sudden now it's an American show. You know what I mean? So definitely, especially in this day and age, you want people to digest something, and in a German audience,
Happens
you're
with
gonna.
Bollywood a lot too. When
Uh,
they do a remake, you need to insert the cultural references that the audience you're pitching it to will get.
yeah, you think about the what was it? It's the Superman, and there's a Spider Woman,
Mhm.
and they're just beating the hell out of somebody, and then they kinda walk away and they're waving or whatever. It's like they're not even hammering down the fact that it's DC and Marvel, and that
Yeah,
these 2 would not meet, number 1. Number 2, they got the
unless it was an
costumes
Amalgam
all wrong.
Comics.
Well, unless yeah,
I know,
okay,
yeah.
yeah, but we're talking about, like, the '70s where it's Bollywood and they're just getting their hands on whatever they can get their hands on. Um, which, in some instances, the remakes, um, they might be better sometimes.
In some ways. In some ways.
This film, I'm gonna say that because it was the first, um, not necessarily gonna say that anyone after it was any better just because. I'm also not gonna go as far as saying that, Bela Lugosi was the remake, that was the remake of Nosferatu by any
Yeah.
means. Um, but,
They were
somebody had
very
to be
different.
first. Well,
Yeah, they were
yeah.
different with their Dracula interpretation. He didn't have that gentlemanly quality. He looked like a monster. You know what I mean? They monsterized him very much
Yeah,
so. They made him
they
more, sharp
yeah,
and
pointy.
menacing. Yeah, pointy.
Yeah, no, looking at the different iterations of Dracula and the story of Dracula over the years, I actually getting ready for this, today, I watched Nosferatu one more time just to kinda wrap my head around it, and then I was like, "You know what? I kinda wanna watch another Dracula movie." Um, I didn't really necessarily wanna watch the Dracula with the Universal Studios Dracula. Um, just being real with you, those were not as true to the source material.
Yeah,
They weren't made to be. They
yeah.
were made to be commercial, they were made to be, "Hey,
Mhm.
let's make as much money as possible."
Yep,
As a lot of these movies were, and a lot of these movies were, they excelled at making as
yes.
much money as possible. But, I would say the first one that the one that I went to was Bram Stoker's Dracula, 1992.
For my money, Gary Oldman is the best in almost everything he does.
You want a movie to make box office and break box office, you hire Gary Oldman. I don't care who you are. Leon the
Yeah.
Professional,
Oh, yeah.
what was it, True Romance,
Mhm.
Gary Oldman, just amazing.
Chef's kiss.
He is a, oh, who is it? Willem Dafoe.
Jean-Baptiste Emmanuel Zorg.
Yes. He's
I
a
love the
Willem
suit helmet.
Dafoe. You put him in any movie, I'll watch it. I don't
Yep.
care what the subject is, but, definitely the standout in that movie,
Sid and
Keanu
Nancy.
Reeves at
Mhm.
the height of his, uh not gonna say at the height of his ultimate popularity, but definitely at the height of his burgeoning popularity
Mhm.
with an atrocious English accent.
A lot of the English accents were bad. I think Carrie Elwes is maybe the only one who really pulled it off.
Well, Carrie Elwes, popular for,
Princess
uh
Bride.
well, no, I was gonna say, Men in Tights, Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Yeah.
The line where, "What makes you any different from all these others?" Because, unlike other Robin Hoods, I speak with an English accent.
Mhm.
Ooh.
Ooh.
So, I love him too. You put him in
Mhm.
anything, I'll watch it. But it was definitely interesting to see, kind of the source material, put on the screen. Obviously, what are we talking, 70 years after the fact, after, Nosferatu?
Yeah.
Definitely a much longer movie, but you get the idea. I do kinda like how we got to see in Nosferatu, we got to see Knock, aka Renfield, and the
Mhm.
names the names we can interchange as freely as we want to with this, because
Yeah.
at the time that this movie started becoming popular in America, it was after the time that, Bram Stoker's widow had won her lawsuit, and
Yep.
they were pretty much like, "Okay, why hide it anymore? Yeah, we're talking about Count Dracula. Yeah, we're talking about, Jonathan Harker. We're talking about Mina. We're talking about all this." Renfield, Knock,
Yeah.
I like the fact that we kinda get a glimpse into before he sort of descends into the madness, sort of, in Nosferatu.
It right off the bat, it seems like is he's already given himself over. He opens it up and he has that letter, and he's already kind of, they don't explain it too well, but it seems like he has already had some sort of dealings. He's excited. It's like, ooh, Orlok is writing me. He's like,
Right.
it's almost like he's been waiting for this.
I kind of liken it to, The Quickening, in Highlander, where, now this
Sensed
event.
it.
Right, this event has happened, and because this event has happened and has put things into motion, this is kind of what set him on the way of madness, if you
Hmm.
will.
Yeah.
Um, so Orlok probably had these pieces in place, such as Knock, um, such as plans to travel. He just needed the last sort of pieces to fall before everything else went into place. Um, they never really explain, or we never really get to experience why Knock all of a sudden is just like, okay, I'm gonna send Hutter
Yeah.
to Transylvania, and now I'm gonna go crazy. Okay, sure, why not? Now he's insane. Now he's gone nuts. Um, but another throwback to it, one thing they keep yelling about in Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula, blood is the life.
Hmm.
That's something that we see Knox say a couple times when he's in the asylum. Blood is life. So there's a throwback to the source material again.
The not character and Renfield, they almost act as like a thermometer, some sort of meter for uh, the
How close
influence,
it's getting.
yeah, of what's
Yeah.
going on. So even in the beginning with Renfield or Knock, yeah, at least Knock is still running the business. He's running the real estate business.
Hmm.
And so to do that, you can't be fully insane yet, right?
That's
So
true.
as it goes on, as Harker or Hum, what what's his name?
Hutter,
Hutter.
Hutter,
Thank you.
Thomas Hutter. Yeah.
Thomas Hutter. Yeah, not Jonathan Harker.
No.
As Hutter gets out there, he starts getting more and more and more crazy, and that kind of, he. It's not so. He's like tapped into. I like the way you put it with the quickening. There's like a knowing. He's acting by instinct in a way. Why did he
Hmm.
pick Hutter instead of the other guy in the office? Maybe the other guy didn't have a wife with a pretty neck, right? So,
Well, yeah, no, and that's an
but did he
interesting
know?
kind of
Did he know that
deviation.
that she was going to attract him to be like the final linchpin? Oh, that's your wife. He's like, she's got a pretty neck. I'm gonna get the house across from you. You know.
Right, right. And
So,
that's kind of a interesting deviation, I think. And at least the movie, the 92 movie, was like Renfield was just another associate that had been sent
hmm.
to go and secure the deal, whereas Jonathan Harker was just the next one in line because
Yep.
Renfield went crazy,
Yeah.
and whatever. But in this one, Nock is running the show. He's the one that sends Hutter to go and meet with him, and that's all his call. So maybe a changing of the story a little bit to try to get it away from Dracula so much,
It is a
or
little bit more disjointed as well.
yeah,
So
maybe they just kinda, like, said, "Okay, you know what? For time's sake, Nock runs the show, he sends Hutter out." That is what it
because he's the one who gets the letter, and the letter's not in English, it's not in German. It's written in Enochian and alchemical symbols.
Mhm.
And so that kind of implies that they had maybe had a dealing before. So there is a there is still a very Renfieldness to it, even though he's not already mad, you know.
Yeah. And they only discuss the one place that he buys.
Hmm.
And in Nosferatu, he goes and he stashes the, dirt that he brings with him. He
Hmm.
stashes that in, different parts of London, or I'm sorry,
Hmm.
not London, Weisburg,
Yeah.
Weisborg, wherever. He stashes that in the different parts so that he can move around the town and sleep where he needs to.
Yeah.
In Dracula, he bought the different places around London so that he could stash his dirt there and sleep as he needed to. So there was a little bit more of a deviation that he's only buying this one place here. Okay, cool. Um, a few more major deviations from it. The fact that we're not talking about um, from the immediate onset of it, we're not talking about a a vampire that has descended on the town.
Yeah.
We're talking about a plague.
Hmm.
Um, and everybody's blaming the rats.
Hmm.
And we see that in the scene where he's loading up on, or they're loading up on the ship. They're loading up his dirt and they open up the one casket
Varna.
and the rats are there and it bites the one guy on the foot. And now we're blaming the rats for the plague.
Hmm.
Um, we'll just go ahead and knock this one out since it's on the tip of the tongue. We're getting there. Anti-Semitic undertones.
Many, many.
Um, very many, as it would seem on the face of it.
No pun intended.
That was the first thing in my notes right here. The physical appearance of Count Orlok, the
Yeah.
long nose, the long fingernails, the balding head, kind of fit with the stereotypical caricature that they had at the time in Germany of Jewish people.
Hmm.
Um, the depiction of Germany being invaded by this outside force from another land. The plague
Yep.
itself, swarm of rats. They came in with Orlok. It's not really, being very coy about it, as it were.
Yeah, he brought it.
Uh, right. The idea not
Poisoned the well, you
only
might say.
y- right that well, and the idea behind it, not necessarily. There was two minds on the subject. Number one, Um, if you remember Inglorious Bastards
Mhm.
with, Christoph Waltz as Hans Landa, saying that if you were to liken them to liken the Jews to an animal, it would be the rat, right? So that was a prevailing just
Yeah.
idea that people had at the time, Jews are rats.
Yeah.
Um, the idea of the Jews being this disease-causing agent that they would sow their ways into the society and everybody would kind of lose themselves. It very present in this movie. Um, also, Knock I mean, just look at him.
And
Everything that they didn't make Orlok, they made Knock.
yes,
Uh,
hunched over,
right, the
the
hair
scheming.
wild,
Mhm.
it was very, it was very on the nose. I would see that. Um, however, one one problem with that, Renee was gay.
Yep.
Um,
And
so
the man who played Knock was his buddy.
yeah, it was his friend and was actually Jewish. Alexander Grenache, whatever you. again, sorry for messing up the name, but he was a Jew.
Yeah.
Murnau was gay. I think that's pretty well documented. Um, I know that's pretty well documented. His lover died, I think, in World War One,
Mhm.
and then he there was just one more story of him trying to get close to somebody else, but also Murnau only lived for 9 years after this movie came out,
Yeah.
so is what it is. But Professor Tony Magistrale, sorry about the name, wrote that, Murnau being a homosexual would have been presumably more sensitive to the persecution of a subgroup inside of the larger German society. Obviously,
Mhm.
1922, we're talking about shortly, but not very much, but shortly before the Nazis came into power, we're talking about, um, the beginning of the not gonna call it the hatred per se, but the beginning of the persecution of the Jewish people in the German society, of them basically saying, "Why do we have to take them in? Why do we have to be their
Yeah.
caretaker? Why do we have to be overtaken with the typical nationalist, racist rhetoric of, well, why do we have to do it? Because it's humanitarian, and
Yep.
Germany's not the only place that they're going."
Yeah.
But I digress. I leave that where it is. The history books say that if it was up to Murnau, it probably would not have been that all of this was inherently anti-Semitic. He was not the only person who had his hand in it. Albin Grau had his hands in it as well. The producer,
Yes.
set designer, costume guy, um,
Occultist.
occultist. Yeah,
Yep.
and so maybe it was there. I don't know. I would like to think that Murnau probably shot it as not, or in the alternative to say, "Yeah, guys, look, I'm totally one of the fellas. I made
Yeah.
an anti-Jew movie too.
Yeah. Without
Please
ever coming
don't
right
look
out
at
and saying it.
right. Don't look at me for what I do, but also I'm gonna go to Hollywood and get the hell out of Germany before
Mhm.
all this kicks off and then die." Uh, but the writing might have been on the wall. I'm not sure. It was definitely it's too good to not be though.
It was ramping up in that time already, and Germany was still very bitter, it seems, because of losing the First War. And
Well,
so it was kind of pervasive from what I understand, that there was always that side of, "We need to get it back. We need to be on top."
and not I'm a student of World War One. I
Mhm.
believe thoroughly, wholeheartedly that World War One has shaped every major world event that has come since. Um, One day I might do an episode on it if I can find enough footage from back then to do it. I would love to because I thoroughly believe that that event, the ending of that war, has brought about so much in this world
Yeah.
that we experience through to today. If we could trace it back, it would be signing the treaty to end World War One. For example, Germany was made to sign at the bottom line on the treaty. They took all what am I trying to say? They took the blame for World
Yep.
War One. Um, the German people saw that as they were sold out by their government.
Yep.
They were not happy with that. This is why the Nazis came into power because the German people were like, we weren't the only ones fighting that war. Well, the Ottomans don't exist anymore.
Exactly.
Um, the Austria Hungary, that's pretty much basically Germany now. And Germany actually did not lose, they did not gain, they did not lose any land border in that amount of time. So the Germans did not see it as a loss. They saw it as, okay, this happened. We came back. They were treaty bound. And that was their argument was that England was treaty bound. And so was France. And so were all these other countries that were involved were treaty bound to fight this war. At any rate, um, Germany losing, that was the moment of contention. Did they actually lose? Um, then we start getting into they're blaming the Jews for
Mhm.
having a hand in the treaty process. And then we get into popular culture falling into that.
Yep.
Prime example of that would be the Batman and Robin serials from around World War II era, where the villain is Japanese
Mhm.
and very racistly Japanese at
Mhm.
that because he's a white guy
Yeah.
that was known as a character actor. But 99% of those were we've got to fight the not gonna say it because it
Yeah.
just delves way too far into racism.
Mhm.
Um, I've watched them. I've watched them several times, and the things that Batman gets away with that, I'm like, I don't know. But anyway, World War One was a very big part of this movie of Nosferatu as well. Um, with Murnau, he was a company commander on the Eastern Front, and I guess that wasn't dangerous enough for him. He ended up serving as a combat pilot for a couple of years. Then he got shot down or landed, crash landed something in Switzerland. He was put in a POW camp for the rest of the war. He was in a theater group in the POW
Mhm.
camp. I didn't know that was a thing. That's cool, I guess.
It's kinda humanitarian. Let them have some fun, I
I
guess.
guess yeah, it's Switzerland. They're neutral. So,
Yeah.
Albin Grau, the producer for this film, he served in Serbia, so he served on the Western Front during World War One. He was told a story by a Serbian farmer
Yeah.
about
That
the farmer's father.
Mhm. Being a vampire
He
and
said he
one of
was a
the undead.
vampire and of the undead. That ooh, that was kind of you hear that today and you're like, all right, this guy's messed up. You know what I
You
mean?
just
You
hate
hear
your dad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. You hate your dad. He's a blood sucking vampire, whatever. Okay,
Mhm.
I get it. You hear that like back then, and to be German and hearing that back then, because
Yeah.
there's a huge tie in occultism in Germany back in these times. Um, Kind of shatters you a little bit, especially when you're in a
Yeah.
foreign land and you've got this random farmer that's like, "Hey, by the way, my dad's a vampire."
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Wait, what?
Y
You know?
Tell me more. I
Yeah.
looked for more on that story, and
No.
there's nothing more.
Well, this is the story.
Yeah.
Nosferatu is the story. This is,
Yeah.
again, obviously a rip off Dracula, but this is kind of where, Albin Grau gets his inspiration, I guess, to do a vampire movie, was from that event during World War One. And then Max Schreck, right there,
Yep.
Count Orlok himself. He was on the Eastern Front during World War One. He had a different experience, should we put it that way. He was in the trenches, which number one was just the automatic. If you had to be anywhere, you didn't want to be in the trench because
Mhm.
that's where shell shock comes from. You don't know
Yep.
when it's your turn. And now, with artillery and all of this coming into play and gas coming into play, you don't even have to be out of the trench to get shot.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of these guys are just sitting there waiting for their turn,
Yep.
So now they go home and they're sleeping at night and they're like, is it really over?
Yeah.
Um, anyway, basically, you can akin a lot of the things that Max Schreck felt exhibited afterward. Uh, Post traumatic stress disorder, shell shock, whatever you want to call it. Some of his colleagues commented that he would go for long, very long walks in the woods, disappearing for hours at a time. Uh, he was quoted as saying that he lived in a remote and incorporeal world. Um, Kind of lends to the fact that these guys went through hell in those trenches and used that to some degree to bring this movie forward and bring
Yeah.
something forward that was not we talked about this in Greed, where they wanted him to rewrite the ending of it and be like, "Oh, and then he wakes up and McTeague wakes up and it was all a dream and, happy ending, right?"
Yeah,
The only happy ending at the end of this one is that, Orlok is dead.
yeah.
The
The
you know,
curse is
his
over.
Yeah, right.
Plague
So,
is the plague is done.
yeah, uh, they didn't give a happy ending to the story, but it was also we're talking about the difference of German filmmaking and American filmmaking for these
Mhm.
times. The Germans probably weren't interested in a happy ending. They were
Yeah.
just interested in a good story. The expressionist ideal of just tell a good story and make people feel it. And I guarantee you people felt it. This was probably very terrifying for some of the things they did. The stop motion where you've got Orlok putting on his casket
Mhm.
lid by himself, without to us nowadays it looks hilarious because it's literally the worst stop motion in the world.
On the ship when the hull is opening up and,
Mhm.
again, poor stop motion.
Do, 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 do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very
When he's rising up, it still has that creepy effect. When he's coming up, it's not the best, but it's
I'm sure they had to do that when slow and speed it up.
mhm.
Um, it wasn't as bad as them putting the casket lid on, that's for
No.
sure. That was Lego. It was Lego
Yeah,
quality.
it was.
Um, but for its
Superimposing him
time,
oh,
it was revolutionary.
when they had him half there, the ethereal, Orlok there under in the ship's hold, and the sick sailor looks over to see him. That's pretty good effect. I actually was thinking that the camera is not looks like a good camera. A lot of these older movies, even Greed, it's at least what survives today is choppy,
Mhm.
um, almost potato quality in some aspects, but the 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 scenes of in the city in Nosferatu, it's very clear. It's pretty crisp in some most of it. Very pretty good quality.
Well, they only had 1 camera
Eh,
for the
that too.
whole shoot.
Yep.
They had 1 camera, there was only 1 original negative to this movie, which so when you think about it like that, it is amazing that the existing prints that we have or, now it's all digital, but the prints that went through the years were able to capture the quality good enough before the time of digital, like, touch-ups and all that, that we could still get some of it without it being too apparent that this is digital touch-up now, you know what I mean? Like, we would be able to tell if we're looking at, a CGI remake or something like that of some of these scenes. I think that might have been the one you were talking about just there, the see-through, the ghostly appearance of Orlok. You'd be able to tell if that was a recreation, you know? Um, first of all, it's amazing that this the last 3 movies that we've looked at were this close to being lost films.
Mhm.
Um, I would
For
say
one reason or other.
this one probably came closer than the other 2. Greed did exist. There was prints of the film. There was not the 4-hour version. There
Mhm.
was not the 9.5-hour version that I would love to see still. But
Metropolis
there
got lost, but
Right.
this one was legally mandated, destroy it or
The
give it to her, and
Absolutely. That
this one
was
is supposed to have been lost, actually.
Well, yes, and this is I kinda touched on this in the intro, that Frances Stoker didn't know this movie existed until she got a letter from an anonymous letter with a copy of the handbill, um, and on the handbill, it was written freely adapted from Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Who said you can do that freely?
Right, and at this point, Bram Stoker died, so she was his widow. She had all of the rights to the book. She had the movie rights. Nobody had bought the movie rights from her. So to hear and this lavish event and getting in the what was it? The invitation she got to it, or the I think it was just the handbill talking about this lavish event in this movie that they saw, and that it was hey, your husband's book has been made into a movie and you didn't get a damn penny from it, by the
Mhm.
way. Oh, really? So she hires a lawyer. I believe it's a English law firm that sued for it. 1925 was when the lawsuit ended, and they said, "Okay, yeah, no, this is pretty clearly just a you made Dracula, you just didn't wanna try to make Dracula." Um, as part of the the argument against, "No, we didn't just make Dracula," they wanted to say, "Well, we changed all the names. We changed it from London, England to Weisburg, Germany. We did make changes to it, you know, not good enough."
If they wanted to get away with it, they probably shouldn't have started off by saying, "We adapted this from
Right.
Dracula." Try to
That's instant CYA territory.
Mhm,
And yeah, I think there's several other things that could have been done to change it. Didn't necessarily have to have the rich Transylvania count wants to buy property in the town and then falls in love with the guy's wife and
mhm.
locks him up in a castle so that he can sail away, and literally told the story of Dracula.
Yes.
Didn't have to do all that. Plenty of ways to get around that, but again, they did. Um,
It's not a very creative thing to try to be just remaking it and changing the names.
no. So she never saw the film either.
Yeah.
She never saw, or reportedly never saw Nosferatu. I don't know if maybe she took a peek. Um, as part of trying to keep out of having to pay her the money that was going to be coming to her, Prana Films declares bankruptcy. This
Yep.
is the only film that Prana Films ever put out. Um,
Their intent was to make a lot of occult films, all occult films. Um, it was all run by occultists. Prana is taken from,
Hindu.
it's a Hindu. Yeah, it means life force. But there was an theosophical handbill or magazine at the time, and it was prana.
Mm,
So and again that's where they took it from. Again, theosophy with Helena Blavatsky. She plays heavily into the ideologies of Germany later on as well. So the overlap in that area, it's kind of a perfect storm with what's about to happen in Germany.
yeah. No. Again, like you mentioned with the occult, Belial creating was the creator of Orlok.
Hmm.
Um, the manifestation of contagion, another Belial thing.
Yeah,
I'm not big on the like, maybe if I'd got my wife to do some notes on this one, it would have been she's big on that stuff, on the occult and all of that. But there's definitely that's where they wanted to go with it. They wanted to toe the line to where enough people could digest the movie, I guess, without having to be experts on the occult.
yeah,
But also definitely wanted to scare the hell out of you and be like, we're not making a Christian happy go lucky movie here. There's dark stuff happening in this movie and you're going to get scared. Straight. If you thought it was scary with Thomas Edison and his train coming at the screen and you thought that you were going to get run over, wait till you see this guy sucking blood out of people in Germany.
yeah. This one will make you scared when you're not staring at the screen.
Right.
You're
I mean,
worried
and back
about walking down a dark alley.
nowadays, this is stuff that we laugh at. Back
Hmm.
then, this is stuff that people are like, "What sorcery? What mysticism?" This is the first Frankenstein movie. They had disclaimer come up on the screen about, like, if you're faint of heart or whatever, don't watch this movie. Had a guy come out and explain it to you at the beginning of the movie, you know? Would that happen today? Not unless they had gotten permission to, like, go and shoot somebody and make a movie out of it. Not unless you were actually witnessing a legitimate murder on screen would that be even a consideration, and even then, you'd hear enough about it from the time that they're making it to the time that it comes out in the trailer or whatever, that they wouldn't have to, like, preface it by saying, "Hey, by the way, this is a snuff film, so
Yeah,
watch out."
yeah,
Um, but back then, they were just god scared that you're gonna go in there and see something that you've never seen before, and you're gonna try to sue them for all their money. Didn't happen. People were thrilled
yeah,
by all of this. They were very happy with it. It was, a success to the people that saw it. Unfortunately, it was a
yeah.
ripoff. So Florence, Stoker gets, she gets custody, I guess, for lack of better terms. They fine for her. They demand that she be paid all the money, all the proceeds. She also gets physical custody of all prints, negatives, all of it. Um, that would have
So
been fine, except that it had already gone to America by that
mhm,
point. And as we well know, because we're talking about public domain here, Metropolis is in the public domain in the United States.
mhm,
It is not yet in the public domain in Germany.
yeah,
Um, if that movie, if Nosferatu had not made its way to the United States ever, number one, it's unlikely that anybody would have ever seen it in this part of the world. Unlikely, I say, because it everything's possible. But number two, there would have been if there had been a surviving copy in Germany and it stayed in Germany and never came to the United States, there was an embargo on it, which would be again highly
yep,
unlikely. Um, it would not. Let's call it the 50s, 60s. When did they find the copy in the jungle in Buenos Aires of Metropolis?
2008? No, 2007?
I think it was 2008. I think you're
Yeah,
right. I think it was 2008. Okay. So they found that copy in the jungle. If that movie had come here at that point, we would then be dealing with all kinds of other copyright issues like, okay, it's owned by Florence Stoker. It's in Germany. Never made it here yet. It can't be in the public domain for X amount of years. You know what I mean? So, again, all that is to say, it's amazing that this movie almost didn't make it.
yeah. A lot of
Um,
from this time, a lot of these movies, if for no other reason, just the film that they shot it on shouldn't survive, you know what I mean?
yeah,
A lot of reasons why this is very lost media kinda time.
yeah. Um, it kind of makes it more special, I think, to know that these movies mattered enough to some people for them to be like, no, all these other ones are going away. The 30-second Nickelodeons are going away, but this
Mhm,
one, we need to hold on to this one. Somebody needs to tell this story. This is important enough to the history, or will be important enough to the history of cinema, or to the people who made it, or just a great story in general that it needs to be preserved. This is again back when we didn't have preservation for such things. There was no such thing as a preservation of a photograph. We had paintings, we had
yeah,
books, um, didn't even really have preservation of music back then. Records were not brand new, but the recording of music and sending it around was pretty new.
yeah,
So the recording of something down like that in a physical form where you can see an actual person doing something or hear an actual person doing something, that wasn't as, I would say, probably not as special because they were used to having that person come to their town and then being able to buy a ticket to go and watch them do it on the stage,
yes,
and take that memory away. It kinda made it cheap to own it because you couldn't really own the art, so to speak. Um, Frances Stoker did or I'm sorry, Florence Stoker didn't care. She
Yeah,
wanted her money, and
exactly.
rightfully so. I'm not
She
gonna
was
take that
entitled
aw
to it.
I'm not gonna take that away from her. She was the
Yeah.
widow. It was his work. I don't have anything on when she passed away, so I don't know if she would have obviously, probably to avoid any kind of legal issue, Universal would have probably had to pay her for their version, right?
Mhm. I'm sure.
I mean, because it's on the nose, it's Van Helsing and it's
Yeah.
Dracula and it's all the names, so probably have to be. Um, the movie itself, I'd seen bits and pieces of it. This might be the first time that I sat down with an analytical lens and watched it. Um, Again, over the top acting, the kind of vaudeville. I think that's just gonna be a staple, and I should probably stop mentioning it every time I see it because that's how they had to do it, the overacting on the face, you know? But the mere fact that Orlok didn't have to do any of that, that's what makes this scare you
Yeah. He was very
because
muted.
yeah, just stone. I mean, he
Mhm.
opened his eyes and all that, smiled a little bit at some points, but
He smirks when he sees Helen,
yeah,
or who is the Mina
but
analog.
he smirks. He doesn't,
Yeah. Yeah.
he doesn't go for joy. That calm, quiet,
Menacing.
little side smirk of it's kind that was a brand new medium to me in what I think that was the all right, cool. Yeah, I'm a bad guy and you know it now. I don't have to do all the little I
Yeah.
just have to walk through the streets and not turn my head. Probably because the same reason that Michael Keaton couldn't turn his head in the bat suit. Um, didn't wanna mess up the makeup or the
Exactly.
costume, you know?
Turn your head too fast, the ear falls off,
Right, right.
possibly.
But that menacingness of it, I thought the pacing of the movie, what was it, Murnau shot with a metronome, so as to perfectly pace and time the movie as it was going.
In that
Beautiful
time,
work.
the camera operator had to be
Mhm.
spinning it himself as well, so the metronome had to have helped with that.
Oh, yeah, yeah, keeping time, especially when it comes to, writing the music, writing the score for the film, and how to heighten this scene where he's going up the staircase and heighten the suspense of it, especially for such a new genre. This was considered to be the template for the horror genre. Um, this was the one. If you wanted to go back and see how to heighten the suspense and scare an audience and not make them feel like a good payoff is coming, but that something sinister is about to happen and bring that to them. This was where you went and learned that from. Murnau's sense of timing and the darkness. Just want to say this for whoever's doing the next Batman movie that you can make a dark movie and it doesn't have to be dark.
Mm, yeah,
Case in point, like the next Batman movie, they're just gonna have you close your eyes and listen, I swear.
yeah. It's nighttime and no set lights. I'm with you on that one.
Doesn't quite work, does it? Because I wanna see Batman beat up some bad guys, and this guy I mean, this movie will scare you.
Yeah.
I don't care. This movie, just the I wanna say that the kind of shudderiness that you were talking about with the way that the film kinda stutters,
Mhm.
sorta, that lends to more of the scare factor of it, and especially now. You know, now we see everything in 4K, 8K,
Mhm.
uh, super lifelike. The new Nosferatu, I could probably watch it and laugh.
Yeah.
This one, you can feel they're up to something sinister. They're wanting
Mhm.
to get across that, you know, I mean, look at that. Look at the face right there
Yeah.
without having to overreact. And you look at that and you look at Frankenstein Um, you look at Boris Karloff, you look at Bela Lugosi, and you kind of think of how in Lugosi's Dracula, how he didn't have that overacting face. He kind of had the same stoic look to him, but the eyebrow and the turning of the mouth just a little bit. Less is more.
Yeah.
Less is more, and this movie proves it. In 1922, this movie proves it. Um, I found it aesthetically amazing. The way that they shot it, the locations they shot it from. Um, say what you will about the makeup on the characters. I get it. I understand it. I get why they did it the way that they did it. It had to happen this way. This
Mhm.
movie would not be this way if it wasn't done the way it was.
Yeah.
Um, you definitely get the sense that they were taking a leap on this one. Nobody had gone this way in a movie yet. Um, if Murnau had failed at this, if they'd been like, "Why are you not telling a happy story? We can't laugh at this." Murnau might not be known now.
Yeah.
He did the horror movie as we know it might have taken many, many more years to come about. But when you think about it, when you think about the importance in pacing in movies,
Yeah.
you think about Leatherface, you think about the Chainsaw Massacre, you think about uh, Freddy Krueger. Think about how all of these movies work, and it's not just some guy coming through and all right, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah.
That heightening of the suspense. Here you go.
Yeah.
Here's where it came from.
Starting off with the status quo of everything is great. "Oh, hey, I'm about to sell a house. It's gonna be great. It's gotta
And then
This
I'm
is
gonna
gonna
come
be
home
great."
and I'm gonna marry you, honey, and everything's
Mhm.
gonna be awesome, and we're gonna have kids, and it's gonna be great. And then until you are the next one that this guy wants to feed off of, and
Yep.
then he sees your fiance, and unlike Dracula, um, she doesn't get to live. Sorry.
Yeah.
You don't get a happy ending.
Yeah.
My bad, guy. Yeah, it is what it is. Um, but there again, that kind of lends to the whole like the good ending, the nice ending would have been okay, well, they live and they get married and everything's happy. Nope. He gets to embrace her one last time after Orlok, which by the way,
The fading away scene?
oh, S there's
The
that
most
there's the
expression he puts into a scene.
there's yes, there's this meme where it's all over TikTok where they just, like, they freeze and then, and then they're
Mhm.
gone. When I saw that, I was in the moment of, like, "This is amazing," but also all I could think of was, like, "Ah," and then
Mhm.
he's not there any
Yeah.
like, it was probably could have paced that one a little bit better with how slow Orlok walked, like, even if we just watched the scene just fade away for another minute, I don't know. But I'm sitting here talking about it. That's the big thing. Just
Yeah.
want to I'm sitting here talking about it. It is important enough for me to be sitting here talking about. So maybe that's Murnau's idea. Hey, if they find it funny, guess what? They're still going to be sitting there talking about it 100 years later, 103 years later. Here I am.
As the one of the first horror movies and the movie that really sussed out pacing of horror and everything, I imagine people would have felt some sort of relief. "Oh, good, he's gone." With that makeup, some people might have wondered where they found this guy, if that's what he really looked like, and if they didn't know anything about cameras, "Oh, good, he disappeared." Hopefully out of real life too.
Yeah, possibly. I mean,
Uh,
you sit there and you hear about Max Shrek, and it's
yeah.
funny. One of the next ones that we're going to be looking at, not gonna give away the well, might give away the name of it with this, but, Conrad Veidt,
Mhm.
um, he was the original choice for Orlok.
Okay.
Um, when we look at I think when we look at the movie that he's in that we're gonna be talking about, I'm happy he didn't play Orlok. because I get expressionist is the name, that's the kind of tone. The lack of expression out of Orlok is what sells
Yeah.
this movie.
Yes.
I feel like an actor with more experience and would with a background, a vaudeville background, who would feel like he needs to do something to make the audience scared of him. Whereas you have
Yeah.
Max Schreck, who is himself a tortured human through the horrors that he went through in war and is very clearly putting the less is more. I don't have to make these people scared of me. I just have to let them see me.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I feel like somebody else would have overacted that part, and it would not be near what it is.
Yeah. I agree, that makes a lot of that's a very good point.
Yeah, no, I dig
Less
it.
is more in this, especially when everyone else has that expressionism, overacting quality, and he's the only one acting as if he's undead,
Mhm.
you know? Everyone else is very much alive with their expressionism, and he's dead except for the slow way he walks.
I would have liked to have seen more out of Van Helsing just
Y
because,
yeah.
um, watching Sir Anthony Hopkins as Van Helsing in, Bram Stoker's,
He always sets the bar
Dracula
so high.
is beautiful.
He's the best.
Um, I absolutely love him, and, I would have liked to have seen more of kind of that smart ass
Mhm.
out of this Van Helsing. Well, I'm sorry, um, Professor Bulwer.
Yeah.
So
I like the scene when they're looking at the what do they call it? The polyp with tentacles,
yeah,
and, um, what is that, under a microscope? I don't even know. I should have looked up what that even is that they were looking
it
at.
looked like they were gathered around an aquarium, like a very small pond of something, and then they're just
Yeah,
looking at it and being like, "Oh, yes, look at that," and then like, "Okay, cool." Yeah, that looks like a prion or a virus or something, man, like,
yeah,
that's
it did.
cool.
Some kind of like amoeba. And then,
Yeah,
also talking about the, Venus flytrap, other plants that eat, "Oh, look, it's like a vampire, right?" So, it's always interesting when people already know what a vampire is in parts of the in these movies. People already know what a vampire is and what it'll do, even though apparently none has ever shown up until the movie.
right. "Oh, you've never heard? Well, because it's never happened before, but I know all about them."
Yep, the expert. I was like that.
This is so I wanted to know, and I'm Googling this. Yes, everybody. The name Nosferatu, because in Bram Stoker's Dracula, the 92 movie, he mentions vampire, a Nosferatu. He mentions it
Mhm.
as a being and not as um which I guess they didn't mention it as his name either. He was Count Orlok.
Yeah.
Um is synonymous with vampire and has been presented as an archaic Romanian word evolved from the Greek word nosophoros, and the Old Slavonic word Nosferatu. In Romanian, Nosferatu translates to the offensive one or the insufferable one. Okay, I guess he's kind of insufferable. Offensive to God, maybe that might have been where they were going with that.
Eh
Since
created by Belial, which means worthless, worthlessness. So some kind of through worthlessness comes insufferability, maybe.
I could see that. Um, yeah, I guess. I don't know. They couldn't just call him Dracula.
No,
They
even though
could. They did.
they did right off the bat. We adapted Dracula.
But we
Anyway,
didn't call him Dracula. Yeah, we didn't have enough respect for your
mhm,
husband's, works to just hit it right on the nose, which is funny that after a while, a lot of the intertitles and in some of the public domain ones, that are available now, and I believe the one that is available through the Library of Congress, um, has Dracula on the intertitles. So run through the names real quick. Instead of Count Orlok, you've got Count Dracula, Thomas Hutter, Jonathan Harker, Ellen Hutter, Mina Harker, Harding, Westerna, Ruth, Lucy.
Ruth, I think, would be Lucy.
Okay,
Yeah,
because in one of the things I read, it was
sh
Lisa. I
Lucy.
don't know. I think that's what they changed her name to in the public domain one. I don't know. I'll have to look more into that. Professor Sievers is now just town doctor.
Mhm,
Knock, Renfield.
mhm.
Professor Bulwer, Dr. Van Helsing, and Captain of the Impusa. He didn't even get a name. Demeter, who was Harker's friend
Yeah.
in the book and the other movies. He wasn't cool enough to be friends with Harker in this one. So
It would have taken another title card, so
more
just
than likely,
yeah. With these old movies where you can't hear no nobody can just offhandedly say anything, it's a big deal to introduce somebody, you know?
yeah.
Even at
Oh, have
the
you met
end.
my friend, Dr. Van
Yeah.
Helsing? No, I've not. What do you do? I find Dracula. Okay, that's a little on the nose. What's a Dracula? I have a story for you. And then we
Mhm.
go into 2 hours. I would listen to Anthony Hopkins tell me for 2 hours what Dracula is. I
I
just
listen to Anthony Hopkins talk for 2 hours about what he had for breakfast. That's just me.
that's fair. That's fair. 103 years. I didn't even think of 103 years old. Be the oldest one we've covered yet. Probably one of the more iconic ones we've covered yet.
Mhm.
Obviously, Metropolis did itself for the science fiction. Um, I would lobby to say that through this one we got the telling of Frankenstein, we got the telling of the Wolfman, which kind of also led to less science fiction, more supernatural.
Yeah.
Um, those two worlds collide so perfectly nowadays with movies. You can have a science fiction horror, you can have a science fiction thriller drama, something like that. You can have a supernatural drama and science fiction horror. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
back then, if it wasn't known to God, it was oh God.
Yep.
This is what scared you is that it was
Yeah.
something that was just an affront to God. Um, now, whatever. Like, oh, it's not cursed by God. He just didn't know about it. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, Dracula might be okay then. Well, he still drinks on blood and kills people. Bad people, good people, like, is he at least virtuous?
And even with the Bram Stoker's Dracula with Gary Oldman, it starts off by showing why so you gain sympathy for the monster right off the bat. Well, he prayed and God still didn't save his wife, right?
Well,
So
no, at the beginning of that one, it was because she killed herself.
that's right.
It was because she jumped into the river and because she had, committed suicide, she wasn't going to heaven.
That's
And
right.
he's like, "I've done all of this in the name of God. I've prayed, I've kept the faith, I've done all this, and really? You're
Mhm.
telling me that I don't get her in the kingdom of heaven? Like, seriously? Yeah, man, that's kinda how it happens.
Then he
Oh, okay.
rejects it.
Well,
Rejects the kingdom entirely.
yeah,
Mhm.
stabs it and starts drinking blood, and that's it. So, yeah, I when you look at the totality of it, kinda makes you feel bad. Um, I feel like at the time that Bela Lugosi took on the role, you still had to have a definitive bad guy and a
Yeah.
definitive good guy. So that backstory would have never flown.
No.
It would have never been, "Oh, well, look, his wife, she killed herself because she got bad intel that he was dead on the
Mhm.
battlefield and she couldn't live anymore. And then the priest told him she's not going to heaven and da 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 da." Oh, okay. Well, I kinda feel bad that they didn't wanna confuse him. They wanted to get him in, show him a story about a guy drinking blood, show him dying, and then move on. So,
Clear good, clear bad, no gray areas of what's going on. We love gray
yes.
areas these days, in
Oh
storytelling
god.
especially.
What I mean, if it wasn't for the fact that you know what? Even if they hadn't given me the backstory on it, it's Gary Oldman.
Mhm.
Kill him. Like like, murder
I was
him.
gonna go the other way. I was gonna say it's Gary Oldman. Save him, help him out, to his
No.
side. No?
Kill him. Kill him.
Ah,
Kill 'em all. Like, you go for it, Gary. You do it. Willem Dafoe, you go be Frankenstein and you throw all the little girls into the lake,
mhm.
because you get them mistaken with flowers.
Yep,
I don't know, but this movie, it set the tone. I'm glad we went over this one. I'm glad we looked at this one. Um, Again, this is gonna be our Halloween deal. We didn't make it, but as Will so eloquently put it, we are timeless. Uh, we'll re
ethereal.
we'll link it to you next Halloween, and you can pretend, but
Yeah.
we'll post it. Y'all can like it now, and then you can listen to it again then. Um, One of the next ones we're gonna do, Will is determined to scare the hell out of me. Um,
It's
so
not even a scary one either,
yeah, it
just to
is.
you.
Yeah, it is. To me and plenty of others, I'm sure. It's yeah, we're gonna do it, and, I'm gonna make Will say something for the introduction because 'cause I'll probably cry through it, I don't know. But we're having a great time doing this, I'm having a great time doing this, I'm loving opening up the new movies, opening up the old movies that I haven't seen before, and getting to explore the history of cinema. I'm just having a great time with it,
Yeah,
especially when we talk about things that are actually rooted in true history and not just the specific history of one thing or another.
yeah. So
Think
far, we've
about
been going with not just what's specific to film history, but also what's happening in the world, the greater world around the film being made at the time as well.
well, if we were talking about, what's going on in Romania in 1922 that would make a movie like this, probably not much. They're
Yeah.
probably just bored and doing whatever Romanians did in 1922.
Hmm.
You talk about Germany in 1922,
There's a lot to talk about.
there's a lot going on there. There's a
Hmm.
lot of history there, a lot of real world history, a lot of real world implications that creep out. So I think it's important to talk about. I who said it? I think you said it in one of our episodes. Those who don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it. I had a history teacher in high school, 10th grade, U.S. history. He had that written over top of his door. And it was funny because it served two purposes. Number one, if we don't learn from the lessons before us, how are we ever going to keep from doing those things in the future? Number two, if you literally did
We
not
failed
learn
the
from his
class.
class, you are going to be repeating
No,
it.
take class again.
Yes. That stuck with me all these years, and that's why I love history, and I love
Hmm.
things that lend to history, and this has just been doing such an awesome job giving me a reason to be like, "No, I have to watch this movie and learn about it."
Yeah.
And my wife just sits there and plays on her phone and doesn't watch the movie, but it's fine. One day she'll watch one and she'll be like, "Oh, this is really interesting," and I'll be like, "Yeah, see? Yeah."
Here you go.
But
And hopefully this inspires other people to go check out some of these older movies, we're checking ones off of my list as well that
yeah.
I I'm looking forward to seeing for the first time, even though
I
they were
have no list. I have
yeah,
literally no list at this point. We have passed the 3 major ones that I think I wanted to cover. Well, there's one more that I wanted to cover. After that, I'm an open book.
yeah.
I'm here for the ride and I'm loving it. Uh, I love any opportunity to have to sit down and watch a movie and pay attention to it. Um,
So if anyone has any suggestions, go ahead and let us know what they are, any which way. We have comments and our emails up here. Let us know if there's one you'd like us to cover.
yeah, or chances are I'm the one that sent you the invite to like on Facebook, so I answer my Facebook messages. Just saying, we would love to do a watch along at some point, with everybody.
Yeah.
Go live. These are all public domain movies. We're not
Mhm.
asking you to go out there and rent anything. You can find literally every movie we've done and pretty much every movie we plan on doing on YouTube for free. What is it, 95 years in the United States?
Yeah,
So that
95 years, I believe.
puts us right at the end of the silent movie era.
Mhm.
That's 1929-ish.
Yeah.
So every one of these movies you can go out and watch right now for free. There's like 20 different versions of Nosferatu.
Yeah.
I will say, YouTube, I love you, but the version that you guys have,
Their official version. You can find better versions on YouTube, on channels that don't have the copyright of it because but the yeah, the YouTube version where it's, with their little
there's
green
singing.
it's weird.
There's singing, and it's like 5 seconds in, and it immediately turned me off on it.
Mhm.
But I popped out of that. I scrolled over 2 times, and I found one that it was absolutely amazing quality, awesome audio, good to go.
Yeah.
Greed, you can find on there 200 times. I guarantee it.
You can find the
Um,
4-hour version as well.
yeah, the Metropolis, find the 80s version on there even.
Yeah.
That's where
The
I
Internet
watched it.
Archive is where I like to go
Yeah.
as well.
So,
Internet Archive, you can watch directly from there. They got a player built in.
we might actually start doing that. We should probably start doing that. Just like linking to where you can find these movies just in case. We're
Yeah.
probably going to do that because we want you guys to watch it. There's a reason that we're talking about these. There's a reason why these movies exist. And if nothing else, it's a good way to kill a couple hours and you don't have to pay attention to it that much. Um
It depends. Sometimes I think you gotta pay a little bit more attention because you can't look away and still hear what's going on.
that's true. You can hear the music when it's like,
Mhm.
"Da-da-da-da," and then something's happened and you missed it and you got to go rewind it a couple times. So but everybody that's watching that has watched so far, we do appreciate it. Anybody listening along on the podcast, we're on Spotify, we're on Amazon, Apple, iHeart, um, all the major ones. So like us on there, subscribe to us, scroll, listen, put us on while you're doing nothing else. Maybe we'll say something you like. Tell us a movie you want us to review. We'll be happy to get to it. Just not around Halloween. We're busy.
Yeah, apparently.
All right, everybody. It's been fun this week. We'll see you next time.
Thank you very much. This has been Real Silent with Will and Jamie.